I have a simple question, and then I may have another one, but why do we cry?
Well, let's begin by establishing that all emotion is a relationship thing. It's the vibrational proximity between who you've become and who you're allowing yourself to be. And so let's further say that all energy is in motion. So it's fair to say that a great deal of your time you are on your way into or out of the vortex. Since energy is always in motion. So sometimes when you first get into the vortex, if it has been spinning particularly fast relative to some very meaningful subject, and you are just in the process of getting up to speed with it, you'll have sort of tears of joy as you are welling up with the fullness of who you are. And sometimes when you've recently stepped out of the vortex, you are crying in your discordant realization of not being up to speed with who you really are.
So it's like an entrance or exit?
Not exactly, but it's a good way of saying it. It's like Jerry and Esther, in their realization of their alignment with us, once they began meditating seriously, meaning every day for 15 or 20 minutes, Esther began noticing many episodes in every day of shivers of pleasure coming up her spine. And she associated it with us, but what it really was her focusing upon something that brought her quickly up to speed with who we were. So it was the relationship between where she was and where she is that brought the sensation. And then as we visited with them about it, Jerry said, well, he remembers as a child those other kind of shivers, like creepy ones, where he was worried about something in the bushes or something like that. And we said, it's the same thing. As you said, it's entering or exiting. That's where you're in a higher vibration and you focus upon something that suddenly takes you away from who you are. And so commonly people say, I was overwhelmed with tears of joy. And we say, you just weren't accustomed to being up to speed with who you really are. You sort of surprised yourself with your connection. The more you come into alignment, the less tearful you'll be, because the next logic, you just expect to know and you expect things to go well. But you like the drama, you really do. That's why you're in and out and 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 in and out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's something sort of exhilarating about being a little hungry. You probably don't remember that. But there is something sort of nice about being a little hungry, because everything's more poignant. Yes.
The other point of my question, I know that I'm here to teach, and I enjoy teaching. It's my passion. I love it. And I do that through my poetry. And I wanted to know, how can I best help my family, my friends? I feel that I came into this world as a black female American for a reason. And how should I use that outer peeling? Because that's all it is. It's just the outside of me that people see. How can I best use that to really to be an example for the people around me?
Well, we have a question for you. From inside the vortex, do you think that that outer peeling is an issue or not?
No.
So when you're inside the vortex, then it becomes inconsequential.
Correct.
And that's how you offer the most, by making it a non-issue.
Okay.
It's interesting. Esther's notice, as she's felt us flowing through her for so many years in formats like this, she can feel that there is not a difference from Abraham's viewpoint of male energy, female energy, the different religions, in other words, the races. When you begin approaching life vibrationally, a lot of the separation and pigeonholing that people have been using as their excuse to evaluate or to like or to choose or to judge or mostly to resist falls away. So really what we're talking about here, do we agree that, another better way of saying it is, do you agree with us? And another way of saying it is, it would be good if you do because we're always right.
I was going to say, I'm not going to argue with Abraham.
But can you feel easy agreement with the idea that this is a vibrational universe?
Yes.
And that the vibration is the foundation of everything.
Yes.
And isn't it easy to also agree that the contrast that exists in its variety is a very good thing?
Yes.
So at what point does variety or contrast become a bad thing?
Never.
Well, from the greater perspective, we would agree that contrast is good in that it evokes clarification. But here's a better way of asking the question in order to evoke a more accurate answer.
Okay. So why do we have the contrast?
So how could contrast be utilized in a beneficial way?
Yes.
And how is contrast utilized in a not beneficial way? And we say it always provides benefit. That's right, because it always puts something in your vibrational reality, into your vortex of creation. But after that rocket has been launched, if you continue to use the contrast and you continue to feel bad as you focus, now contrast isn't serving you because it served you and you didn't take the expansion that it provided you. See, and there are so many people that for generations continue to beat the same negative drums. They continue to find the same things that they push against. And so that's what you're reaching for. You're wanting to build bridges to help people to understand sameness in the sense of sourceness.
That's one of the things that I've been realizing, that so many people in my culture are still stuck in the past and stuck there, and I'm wanting us to move forward and get past that. And you're saying take the contrast and run and go forward with it instead of using it as an excuse to stay in the past or where you were.
We're saying convince yourself that contrast is good no matter how it feels in the moment.
Okay.
Because contrast, no matter how it felt in the moment, launched something further. And then we're saying turn your undivided attention as quickly as you can toward what you want.
Okay.
And of course, we've said this endlessly in so many ways. Focus upon what you want and rather than upon the lack of it, and reach for the thoughts that feel as good as you can find from where you are.
Yes.
So it's surprising, maybe, but the most effective poetry, the most effective teaching is the least controversial. It's the simplest. Yeah. It's what appeals to the core of the most, you see. We never see protesters making that difference that you're wanting to make.
Yeah.
It's always the soother that makes the difference, because the contrast has caused the asking. And there are so many people on both sides of every issue who have put what they want in the vortex, and surprisingly what they want is the same thing. If they could just get into the vortex, they would find harmony with the enemy that caused them expansion. Such an interesting thing.
Most of my poetry is about soothing, and I notice people seem to just start to float and they go into the vortex as they listen. They start off with resistance and then they just start to melt down, and then at the end they have a big smile on their faces.
Well, it always feels better to release resistance.
Yes, and that's why we cry. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Namaste.